and there's not a very big chance of that happening right now.
Gillian, I also want to get to this news this morning. Reportedly, Iran has sentenced this Chinese-American student, a Princeton graduate, to 10 years for espionage. Your thoughts at this point?
Well, you know, it's another example of Iran using these trumped-up, completely salacious charges. They try and tie people who come into their country from countries that they don't like to national security threats. They use these trumped-up charges to imprison them. There's quite a few Americans being detained in Iran right now under similar charges, similar pretenses. The State Department has already acknowledged this publicly. They've said this is completely, these charges are completely trumped up. This was a student who was there. I think he was researching his PhD. He's a Chinese-American.
Correct. So, I mean, the response from the Trump administration is going to be key here, because Ambassador John Bolton over the weekend wrote an op-ed saying Trump must withdraw from Iran nuclear deal now. He said we must also urgently reassess the available intelligence on issues like joint Iranian-North Korean nuclear and ballistic missile programs. He makes it very clear and puts a lot of pressure on the president.
He does. The problem, to my way of thinking with that, is it's a bad deal. President Trump is right to point out it's a terrible deal for U.S. national interest, but the problem is the deal is inked. We've signed it. We spent a couple of years rallying allies around the world, to include France, Germany, and Britain, to get on board with the nuclear talks. President Obama did that, and we've got so much political capital invested in that now that to renege, to pull out of the deal in part or in full, would not just be a betrayal of Iran, because nobody really cares about that, but it would be a betrayal of some of our closest allies. And I think ultimately that will undermine what we're trying to achieve. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Gillian Turner, always good to get your insights. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thanks, Sandra.